Alright, it is time to play Dominion against duhminion. We are in veto mode here. He's going to go ahead and veto the Sea Hag, while I will veto the Tournament. Tournament is a card that tends to give a pretty good first player advantage, and so as second player, I'm looking to veto that there. So now looking at this board here, we do get colonies, which is interesting. There's nothing blazingly fast in terms of engine potential. There's a black market, so potentially you could pull something out of there, but in general that's a trap trying to pull specific cards out of the black market. So I'm going to go for a strategy which I've wanted to play for a bit, but I don't think I've ever had the chance to, and that is the Apothecary Native Village combo. Now, one nice thing about this combo is that you can do it regardless if you start 5-2 or 4-3, so my 5-2 start doesn't really matter. But the general idea is that you want to load up on apothecaries and then use a native village to clear away the junk in your deck. When you play a bunch of apothecaries in a turn, sometimes you run into the problem where you leave a bunch of junk on the top of your deck, which is, bad for your next turn. So Native Village counteracts this by allowing you to scoop up those green cards and put them on your Native Village mat, and that way your deck stays relatively clean and able to keep moving along with this combo. So the Apothecary Native Village is not a super fast combo, but on this board here where there's nothing else that's really fast either, it should work pretty well. So over the course of this game I made several mistakes in playing this board here, which I will point out where they are. So he goes ahead and opens with a potion himself, so he could potentially be doing this as well. Now, I open Native Village because I'm going to want one eventually, but I don't want one this soon. So there's mistake number one. The reason being, I don't want to be blind drawing with a Native Village. I want to be drawing estates, and I want as many coppers as I can in play. So there I pick up a copper, which I did not want, and there I buy a second Native Village, which could potentially help me cycle through this trash a little bit faster in the early game, but it's really not necessary. Now, normally you'd want to open Potion Copper, I believe, with this strategy, but on this particular board, a stronger opening would have been Potion Hamlet. Now, the Hamlets are going to come in handy because we're going to want more coppers into our deck, right? To buy colonies, we need 11 coppers. And we only start with 7, so we're going to need to buy 4 at some point during the game, or get income from some other source. And so we don't want to waste an entire turn just buying copper, so that's why the extra buy from the Hamlet is going to be very necessary here, and why it would have made it a better opening. So now you see I am scooping up estates and green cards with my native villages. There I consider putting those coppers back into my hand because I really do want them. And indeed, I probably should have, in retrospect. So, errors compounding on errors. But I'm still, this combo's still kind of getting up and running already. So we'll just have to see how it turns out. Meanwhile, Dominion seems to be a little bit less focused. He has monuments. For a few extra points. He has some apothecaries, a Hamlet, but all in all, I'm not exactly sure what he's going for because he's not quite doing the full Apothecary Native Village track. And here I decide that I do want a monument. I think that's a fine move in this situation. The few extra points in the end of the game should be okay, and I have enough apothecaries that even though it's a dead card that I'm not going to be drawing into my hand, as I would a copper in that situation, that I have enough apothecaries to basically, get that in there anyway. And here I decide to finally native village my other native village away because I really don't need it. And again, like I said, I have so many apothecaries that drawing my whole deck's not a problem, even with the the dead monument in there. And so I leave an apothecary on top of my deck for next turn to start with, and I'm just buying more copper and apothecaries at this point, and as soon as I get enough money, I can pretty much start buying one colony per turn, and then just tucking that colony away on the native village mat, and just start rolling. So that's what's going on right now. I leave all of that on top of the deck for next turn because I will most likely not need it this turn. And again, Apothecary Copper. And I think I should have about enough money in my deck to start buying colonies at this point. So you notice we're on turn 12. You know, and averaging about a colony per turn from turn 12 onward is definitely not going to be bad. So, you know, it's not the most speedy combo in the world, but it definitely does get the trick done. And one of the important things with the oh, sorry, one more turn of buying things here. Alright, so now with that copper I should have exactly 11, and so from now on I'll be buying colonies. And one of the important things in this combo here is to line up your cards properly, so that you can start each turn with any extra apothecaries that you didn't need to draw your deck. And again, I don't know why I'm drawing all these apothecaries, I don't really need them. Also, it's not so terrible to be discarding coppers with my Hamlet for the extra buys, because I do will most likely scoop them right back up in that same turn with the future apothecaries. And so we're just gonna kind of keep plodding along at this point, grabbing up things. And so here I see I can grab this native village to tuck away this colony I just bought, to keep my deck nice and clean. So once again, I draw just enough for a colony and get an extra point out of my monument. So I'm up 2 colonies to 1 right now, which is a good position to be in. And so while he's playing, I'm not positive if you're not going for some Apothecary Native Village combo. I guess with no trashing that the Apothecary might still be a decent buy in the colony game, because you do have some extra turns that you wouldn't probably get in a province game, and so you can kind of just cycle your deck a little faster, maybe line up some cards a little faster. But as I said before, the danger is that you do, especially once you start greening more heavily, that you end up leaving more junk on top of your deck, which you definitely, you know, it's definitely going to hurt you in future turns. So he does buy a colony here, so I'm still up by 1 colony. And I'm just going to keep playing colonies. Now, one other nice thing about the Hamlet in this situation is that I can actually, if I need to, I can use it to discard the colony for the buy, and then the fact that the colony's on my discard pile makes it more likely that I can use my native village to scoop it back up. But I do miss it there, that's alright. I have an extra colony in my deck now that I won't be able to get rid of, but I have a sufficient lead that I don't think it's going to matter too much. And so, yep, there's that extra colony that's just going to be clogging up my deck. And I draw enough money for 1 more colony, leaving the extra native villages on top of my deck. And at this point, I'm mostly just looking to end it with this extra colony here. So just keep drawing cards. And unfortunately, I do not quite draw enough for the colony, so I end up buying a province copper. he matches my province. And I can't end it again. So now I'm thinking maybe the monument buy earlier in the game might have also been a mistake, as it's just one more card which clogs up my deck. That's keeping me from cycling through here. And so these couple turns where I failed to buy the colony, had this been a closer game, may have been enough to cause me to lose. But having a decent cushion here allowed me to just buy this last colony and still win anyway, despite the few mistakes I made. So anyway, that's how the Apothecary Native Village combo works. And certainly what I did can be improved upon, but that is the general idea of the combo.